Hello everyone. So today we're going to be discussing how we can unwrap 3D objects inside of Maya. Now, Maya 2018 has a new feature called the UV 3D Sew and Cut tool, which is quite amazing because it's been used with other softwares like 3D Coat, and it allows you to actually sew and cut on the 3D object you're actually trying to unwrap. Old times before, we used to actually go into our UV editor and basically modify the entire 2D unwrap texture to be able to get the results we're looking for future texturing or using on Substance Painter or Designer and paint on top of the textures itself. This tool, this new tool that is available for 2018, 19, and 20 will allow us to have a better and faster workflow. That way we can release the UV unwrap and actually take it to Photoshop or Substance Painter and paint on top of it as a 2D artist. So first off, I have here Maya open. I have a sword, which is Sting from Lord of the Rings, and I'm gonna be, first of all, completely removing all of the previous UVs. So this comes from the internet, and I'm gonna have the same exact model in my description, the link below. And basically what we have to do is, since this artist created the sword and unwrapped it as well, we want to remove those just so we can work on our own unwrap and textures ourselves. So the first thing I'm gonna do is create a planar map, so UV here. You can find it inside of the modeling tab again, UV. And let's look at the UV editor first. So right now, let me just select my object, all of it. There we go. So that's the object. I already completely removed the actual old unwrap that the artist has made, but if you do want to do it yourself, it's UV, and you click on planar. This will completely reset all the seams, all of the unwraps, and all the UVs that they had, so that we can work from fresh, from start. Here we go. Let me close this up. Perfect. Now we have a fresh canvas we can work on. Let me go to object mode and start taking component by component. So let's take this one first. UV, 3D cut and sew tool. Now, as you notice, the entire blade has taken a kind of a pinkish to purple color. Means that this entire blade is a single object. Like you saw in the UV editor, it's one single piece. That's something we don't want to do. What we want to have at the end is a top blade piece, a bottom piece, the hilt, which can be divided into three pieces, so let's say the top, the middle piece, and then the bottom piece, the entire handle, and at the end the pommel, which can be divided into two pieces, the top and the bottom. Alright, so let's start working on the blade itself. When I look at an object to try to unwrap it, I have to understand how I'm going to texture it first. That's very important for me as an artist. I need to see how am I going to be taking this actual object, putting it as a 2D plane, and seeing how I can paint on top of it while keeping all of the seams and the aspect and the look of the blade correct. So here what I'm going to do is divide the top piece and the bottom piece into two different UVs, basically. So with this tool, all I have to do is to create seams is clicked. So just left click, I'm able to create seams all over the perimeter here of the blade. All the way through. Take your time doing this step. Perfect. Let's go to this side. So if you notice, my lines are going from blue to white. White means that it's actually detaching the seams. It's a seam. It's actually creating two different pieces. The blue is actually sewn together. So it's like this line has been glued together by the other line. So let's say here I made a small mistake. Let's say by accident I clicked on something I don't want to actually have, and it goes to white, meaning it's going to cut this entire piece here. The way to remove this feature is you control, click, and now it's back together. It's back to basically being sewn together. Let's keep going here on the perimeter. All the way through to the edge of the blade. Let me zoom in here. Weird, for some reason the first time it didn't take the correct edge seam, so we're gonna redo this again, right here. Great. So now I have my first piece completely sewn through, right? The white line is going all the way. I can right click, component, UV shell. And if I grab it, it's gonna be a single object. Nothing else is being selected, which is perfect for us. And all I have to do here is right click again, unfold and layout. Or just press, D on your keyboard, and automatically if I go to my UV editor, it has been completely detached, which is great. So just move this around. So right click, UV shell right here, and move it to the side, rotate it a little bit. I'm going to keep everything kind of organized here, so I'm going to keep this straight and put it to the side. Next. So we did the top piece, we're going to do the bottom piece now. Object mode, grab it, UV, 3D cut and sew tool, right click. Since I already cut half of it, I know that the bottom piece is already separated as well. All it needs is just the right unfolding basically. So UV shell, grab the bottom piece, right click, unfold and layout, or press D on your keyboard. Now again, we go to UV editor, and it's right here. So I'm going to try to match this one with this one as well. So right click, deselect everything with Q, UV shell, grab it, move it, and just rotate it and try to scale it as much as possible. They have to be exactly the same object since the texturing we're going to be applying to these two objects has to be the same. So try as much as you can to make it exact. Perfect. We have our blade completely unwrapped and ready. Next, we're going to go to the hilt. So this is done. Object mode, go to the hilt. Object mode as well. UV, 3D, sew and cut tool. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this entire edge, take this piece, the middle piece, and the bottom piece to be different. So what you can do as well with this 3D cut and sew tool is if you have a loop, meaning that you have edges that follow each other at the same topology all throughout the object, just like this edge right here. What you can do is double click, it will select the entire white line all the way through. Here I have a small little piece that has not been selected, so just go click, click, let me zoom in here, sorry. There we go, click, click, and double click all the way to the end. And I know for a fact that it has not been closed up in this piece because this is still the same color as this piece. For it to change colors, we have to make sure that it closes. Click, click. I messed up, so control click to revert back to sew. And that's it. And now the actual object is a very light green, meaning that it has changed its UV from this piece to this piece. Alright? So let's continue here. I'm going to create an edge on this side. There we go. On the other side as well, it has taken it. Perfect. This might be a bit of a problem, so let's change our methodology here. I'm going to grab the bottom piece first. So grab this piece right here and double click on this piece right here. You see the white lines? Go all the way to the end and connect them together. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Perfect. Other side as well. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Changes color. Perfect. So now let's grab right click, component, UV shell. Grab these two. I want me to select multiple, so we're just going to keep this one. Right click, unfold and layout. Then here, right click, unfold and layout. Great. Next, we're going to take this entire piece and as well, right click, unfold and layout. This might give us a bit of a problem, so we'll see how to fix it. Let me go to my UV editor. Exactly, it created a donut, which is something I don't want to happen. I actually want to cut this into two separate pieces, since there is this little angle that's popping out here. So the way to fix this, I go back to my right click component edge, click here, 2, 3, 4. I have a small little piece right here I have to get. 1, 2, all the way through. Perfect. Next here. Perfect, no mistakes. I have an edge here, disconnecting this into two pieces. So again, component, UV shell, grab it, right click, unfold and layout. Same thing goes for this one, unfold and layout. And now you'll see 4 separate shapes. The top, the bottom, this front piece, and the back piece. So here they are. Q to deselect, right click, UV shell, move this to the side and rotate it. Perfect, same thing goes for this one. And rotate it. Try to make them pretty much similar. Doesn't have to be perfect, just try your best to actually get to that result. This piece right here. And the final piece. Perfect. It's a little bit tilted. There we go. grab everything here and move them to the side because I know my blades are around here somewhere, so I don't want to clutter everything up. I just put everything here. Great. Next, the handle itself. So right click, object mode, UV, 3D cut and sew tool. All we're going to do for this one is just cut it right through one single edge and not bother too much here. So double click here and that should be it. Component, UV shell. Typically when it comes to a cylindrical object, it's so easy because all you have to do is create one single edge and it's going to do that effect. But you have to be careful where you're actually cutting, since if this object is going to be, for example, shown on this side, then you're safe because this edge is basically the seam line. And if you have a texture that connects to the seam line, you're going to have a bit of deformities in the texture, which is kind of dangerous. So in this case, try to find an edge where on your renders or in your game, you won't be able to see it. So all I'm going to do here is unfold and layout, UV editor, there it is. I'm going to also rotate it. I know that the bottom piece is the smallest piece, so that's the bottom of the blade, sorry, of the handle, and this is the top of the handle. So I'm just going to lay it out, scale it down, and put it to the side. Great. Last piece, the pommel. Same principle, we're going to cut this completely in half. So let's look over it, UV, 3D cut and sew tool, double click in the middle, and this should create me an entire line through the center, as you can see. Perfect. Component, UV shell, grab this, unfold and layout again with right click, and here unfold and layout with the right click. Go to your UV editor, there they are. Q, deselect, take the UV shell, move it to the side, and let's just move it kind of the same position for both of them. So in your UVs, basically the smaller the object is, the smaller it has to appear inside of your UV unwrap. They have to kind of be proportionate to each other. So let's look over how the entire object has been made. Object mode, grab everything, UV editor, there they are, all the pieces together. Now try to organize them as best you can. So I know, for example, my handle is bigger than my hilt. My blade is going to be the biggest thing inside of the UV editor. So you have to keep those in mind. UV shell, grab all of these, scale them down, move it to the side. These are also small. Scale them down and move them right here. My handle is a little bit bigger than this. Perfect. And these two blades are going to fit perfectly right next to them. And again, when you're working with the UV editor in Maya or in any 3D software, this exact square is the limit that you're going to have to work with. So if your object is outside of it, or this side, or any other than this square itself, it will not render properly, meaning you will not be able to get a UV screenshot like I'm going to show you now. So be very careful. Let me move this here. And I want to make sure that you understand that you have to also keep a bit of distance between them so that you can pass some textures in between them. So if you're using Photoshop, for an example, you want to be able to get at least a line through this piece as you're contouring it. That way you can actually create a good, decent texture. So this is it. Now, how about we release this entire UV as an actual picture so we can take it to Photoshop or Substance Painter, and I'm going to show you in the next video how to actually texture this object, just very simple textures, and how to apply them inside of Maya. So I'm going to go to my image right here, UV snapshot. I have my file name and destination, basically where this file is going to be saved. My format, so Maya IF, JPEG, PNGs. Typically I like PNGs. If I want to go to a higher resolution, 300 resolution DPI, I go to TIFF. So keep it basically JPEG or PNG, preferably PNG, just so you can have the black and white contrast of the alpha matte. So 2048 by 2048, that's basically your resolution. I'm going to change this to my desktop and I'm going to call it Sword UV. Save as a PNG, apply and close. Sorry, I got an error. You must select the valid object, select the polygon, something. Oop, that's my bad. So what we're going to do is select the entire thing. And now I can actually apply and close. There we go. So remember, you have to select the actual object you want the screenshot to be at. And that's about it. So now if I look over my desktop right here, I can see my Sword UV, which basically I can take to my Photoshop app. So let's go and find that actual Sword UV. Perfect. So I get a transparent background, the 2048 by 2048 image, and I have my layer here. So all I can do is select a solid color, take it to black, and drop this layer under the actual UV, and I can see everything. And I can just paint on top of it, get textures, and do all the work I need to do as a 2D artist to be able to get the textures I like, and give it to the 3D artist who's gonna put it back into Maya and render out a like an actual good sword. So, hope this helps, and for the next video I'm gonna be showing you how to actually do the texturing process, and thank you very much for watching. See you.